In a geographically isolated psychiatric ward in Hawaii, medical staff faced a crisis. The facility was filled with patients suffering from severe schizophrenia and violent depression, creating an environment so volatile that standard clinical interventions often failed. When Dr. Hugh Len was tasked with managing the ward, he spoke 4 specific phrases. "Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you." Over time, an unexpected trend emerged. Without any direct face-to-face counseling, the patients on the ward began to show signs of recovery. While this story is often told as a miracle, it points to a measurable biological response. It suggests that shifting an observer's internal state can influence their environment through a specific neurological process. We see this same mechanism at play in our own lives. We deal with chronic stress, workplace tension, and personal conflicts that keep our systems in a state of constant agitation. The center of this agitation is the amygdala. This part of the brain functions as a threat detection system, constantly scanning our surroundings for signs of danger. When we are trapped in emotional turmoil, the amygdala enters a hyperactive state. It locks the body into a cycle of fight, flight, or freeze, even when there is no physical threat present. This sustained stress response spreads across the nervous system, infecting our logic and making it difficult to access feelings of calm or focus. Just as Dr. Len did in the ward, we can use these 4 phrases as a targeted intervention to manually shift our brain's activity away from this stress response. This process begins with the phrase, "I love you." The brain recognizes the linguistic and emotional cues associated with these words, even when we are directing them toward a person or situation we find difficult. Speaking these words triggers the release of oxytocin. This hormone acts directly on the amygdala, signaling the brain that it is safe to lower its defenses. Following this with "please forgive me" introduces a secondary shift in our internal chemistry. This phrase acts as a biological signal to reduce stress markers. It prompts the body to slow the production of cortisol and adrenaline, effectively de-escalating the threat response. The phrase "thank you" shifts focus to the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for rational thought and decision-making. Expressing gratitude facilitates a release of serotonin. This illuminates structured nodes in the prefrontal cortex, which allows for clearer thinking and more deliberate actions. These 4 phrases are not just symbolic gestures. They are specific biological inputs that shift the human nervous system from a state of defense toward a state of growth. This chemical shift directly impacts the default mode network, or DMN. This is the neural circuit that becomes active when we are ruminating on the past or worrying about the future. When the DMN is overactive, we find ourselves caught in repetitive loops of self-referential worry, making it nearly impossible to remain present. The focused repetition of these 4 phrases diminishes the intensity of the DMN, quieting the noise of persistent anxiety. This quieting is what allows for the state of awareness often described by authors like Eckhart Tolle. Without managing the activity of the DMN, achieving a state of presence is a biological struggle. We can observe physical evidence of how our emotional states influence our biology by looking at the microscopic composition of human tears. Research has shown that a tear shed in grief has a different chemical makeup than a tear shed in joy. The microscopic structure of these droplets changes based on the emotions we experience, illustrating that our internal state directly influences our physical output. This suggests that finding peace is a process of managing the internal biological loops of the DMN through consistent, intentional inputs. To see the long-term impact of this practice, we can look at a pilot study that tracked the biological age of people using this specific method of internal forgiveness. The data showed that practitioners experienced a measurable drop of 3.28 years in their biological age compared to their chronological age. While chronic resentment creates cellular strain, the practice of letting go provides the nervous system with the signals it needs to prioritize maintenance and recovery. You can test this effect by committing to a 21-day practice. Repeat the sequence, "Thank you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you," 108 times each day. Rather than attempting to change the behavior of others, focus entirely on shifting the chemical environment within your own brain. By managing these internal signals, you are adjusting the biological foundation of how you perceive and respond to your world.